Reese Hanneman. How's it going, brother?
Happy to be here. Good, man.
Welcome to Orange Slice Podcast.
Still waiting for summer to come, but yeah.
Was it last weekend? I feel like it was last weekend.
That was our weekend. Yeah.
It was record. It was something like 78 degrees, I think they recorded. It was like the hottest since 2000, what was it, 12 or something? I don't know. They had like a whole stat on it. I was like, holy shit.
It felt good. I mean, we need more of it, but yeah.
Felt good. Where were we at?
I actually went over and hung out with a friend over in Beluga.
Oh, Beluga Point?
Yeah, Beluga, like across Cook Inlet.
Oh, shit.
Which I've flown over. Like, when you fly west, you fly over it and stuff. But I never spent time over there, but it was really cool. Yeah, so it was hot, got to play outside. And, yeah, how about you?
I went to Seward. Yeah.
Nice.
Just went south. I usually am up north where it's a little hotter, but Seward, when it's nice in Seward, man, it's like no better place.
Seward's hard to beat.
We did Mount Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People up on the mountain getting ready.
There was a ton of people training, but it was hot.
Yeah.
It was fucking hot up there.
Yeah. Yeah, that mountain, dude, the heat just goes up.
Yeah.
So it's a hot day. Like, it's like, I don't know what it is about that hill, but it feels so hot.
Well, hopefully.
You're just baking on the rocks up there. And,
it is. It's a different, if it's like clear and hot, I think it's a harder race than if it's socked in and cool.
Totally.
Especially for people who have exposure issues, and they're like, holy shit, how high you get on that thing.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Hopefully this weekend's more of the same. It's supposed to be.
Man, come on, son.
Fingers crossed. Anyhow, it's good to have you on, man. It's been a while since we've seen each other. You got some new things going on. Yeah, you've had Ophira going since 2016. Mm-hmm. Same year you got married.
That's right. Big year for me, yeah.
Yeah, that's and then so talk a little bit about like what's going on with that's your main business, Ophira.
Yep, Ophira is my main thing. Yeah, I started that in 2016, kind of in the middle to the end of my professional skiing career, and I had just been doing a bunch of marketing stuff, kind of freelance here and there, and had been getting a lot of demand for that, so started that company. In 2016, just kind of decided to shove off officially, and
were you doing photography a lot?
Yeah,
you were like kind of like doing photography for your other athletes and stuff like that.
Totally,
and just kind of like dabbling.
Yeah,
because you get your degree in mechanical engineering.
That's right.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm using that heavily right now.
I don't know. It just means you're smart. I think you can do math.
I can moonlight as a nerd if I need to.
Yeah, totally.
So been doing marketing, and then was doing that kind of like while I finished up my professional ski career. So that was like a whole other part of kind of a chapter of my life that was just like fully committed.
Let's talk about athletics. That first. Then we should have, 5-time national champion.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Not counting.
I think that's right. Yeah.
5-time national champion. Went to the Winter Olympics in 2018. Mm-hmm. For the cross-country ski team. How did that go? Talk about a little bit about the experience there and where you guys were. And I don't even remember where it was.
Yeah, that was Pyeongchang,
Korea,
in 2018. So, I born and raised in Fairbanks. I moved to Anchorage in 2010, basically, to basically try to ski professionally, to ski full-time. So, and then I raced on and off the World Cup with the U.S. ski team for like 10 years, basically, 9 years.
Shit.
So, real quick, like, basically, I missed, it had always been my dream to go to the Olympics. A lot of little kids, especially being in Alaska, we have this incredible exposure to, like, high-level athletes.
Yeah, cross-country skiing is, like, that's the top, right?
Totally, yeah.
It's like, that's it.
That's it. And so I had met, as a kid, I met some Olympic athletes and, obviously having these heroes that were going ahead. And so I was, you always said, I want to go to the Olympics. I want to go to the Olympics. And, that's something that you tell yourself. But, like, if I'm being honest, like, in the back of your mind, you're kind of like, there's no way that's going to happen. That's like a
pie in the sky
moonshot, But, every year you just keep ticking off and you get kind of closer and closer. And so I moved here to take that dream seriously.
Got it.
And ski full time. And then basically, fast forward 4 years. In 2014, I missed the Olympic team basically by one spot. Mm-hmm. They had like 8 spots, and they chose to take 7 guys, and I was basically that 8th guy. I just had a really good U.S. Nationals, and so then it was like, decide how badly I want it. do you want to go for it?
This is it.
This is
it. And you had a sniff at it, like you were right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
But
you got another 4 years to work
another 4
on
years,
it. Yeah.
and it's a lot. I mean, you're training so much, so hard. You're just
so what's the
exhausted.
training like? Like you got coaches, obviously. Like I've always played like hockey personally, and so it's like a team sport. You're, and there's different levels, obviously. So like, how does it work? Like motivation wise, like how do you like coaching? Like what is it that really pushes you? How do you get better?
That's a great question. It's really a unique hybrid of individual. I mean, it's obviously an individual sport technically, but I think that to compete at the highest level, like you have to have a structure and a team around you. Like what the quote, like you're only as good as the system that you put in place. Like everybody has the same goals. Everybody would love to win the Olympics.
Yeah.
But what do you do that supports that goal? So that was part of me coming to Anchorage, was to join APU and kind of put that system in place so that the baseline for what's expected, the training level, the coaching, all that around you is like at the level that you're trying to be at.
And people should know APU is like the place where you go in Alaska. I think, I don't even know, like for this part of the country, even maybe to like compete at a high level in this sport.
Yeah, it's actually very unique. We just kind of take it for granted here, but it's like having like one of the best, I mean, one of the top 2 Olympic training centers in the whole country, like right here.
Yeah, people don't know
if
that.
You can imagine that for hockey, like let's say you just have the feeder, and like every year half of the Olympic team comes from this team that's in Anchorage, Alaska.
Does that happen?
Yeah,
actually, with
it's
cross country
insane.
skiing.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Because David Norris, I know David's from Fairbanks as well.
David,
another
my
big
brother,
cross country skiing. Your brother too. Yeah.
I mean, when the year that I went, I forget the number.
Keegan, obviously.
The year that I went in 2018, I forget the exact number, but like the number of Olympians for cross country skiing from Alaska and APU was like completely insane. I mean, it was like 10 people on the 20-person team or something like that. So
that's hilarious.
And so I just
So you put yourself in a situation where you could have great systems and other high-end athletes that maybe were better than you, or where you could push yourself.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just being honest. Like you can be you're competing against a bunch of really motivated people, right? This could be the same in business too. Like people who are doing well, like everyone's really committed. They're working hard. They're very dedicated. They have a great work ethic, and like, what can you do to make up ground on someone like that? So I knew that I had to have, because you don't feel like pushing yourself that hard every single day, all year for like, you're looking at 4 years, like whatever, 365, like 7, that's like 1,400 days.
It's a fucking
workouts
it's a grind, right?
It's like you got 3,000 hard workouts between now and the Olympics, and you've got to, like, everyone has to be executed to the best it can be.
Yeah, it's got to get you better every time. Yeah, so how do you, that's just like the grit it takes to get through that and to be like, okay, always having your eye on that goal so you don't end up sleeping in or eating that cheeseburger that you shouldn't have eaten,
right?
Or skipping a workout.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, it's part of accountability, I think, is huge in, and having mentors, having coaches, people that have done it before to say like, hey, just hop on. This is the path, like, and that gives you a lot of confidence when you're competing against whatever, the rest of the world, or just, the people that you're going up against, that like, hey, like whatever I'm doing has been proven, and, but yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. It's like, extremely challenging. You give up a lot. Like everyone thinks like, when I was doing that, people would say, oh, living the dream, and it's like, I mean, this is some kind of dream, but some days it's a nightmare,
that's the big misconception with any professional sport. I think people look at those guys, women and men that do these things, these kind of amazing things, and they just think that it just is like talent or like happened, they're lucky or they have good genetics, but in reality, these people are on a grind to get better every single day. Even golfers, like I always say, like, I want to be a professional golfer. I'm like, well, do I want to be away from my family that much? I want to be like on the golf course 5-6 hours a day, tearing my back up. Hockey players, same thing. They're gone away from their home, NHL players 3 weeks a month, It's like, do you really want that lifestyle? And yeah, those guys obviously are taking it on, but it's not as glamorous, I think, as people think. And that's the same thing with business, right? People see people with lots of money and super successful, and it takes a lot of grit and hard work to get to those places. It does not come easy, and I think that's what you're pointing out. It's like that's what you discovered here.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just learn like, yeah, perseverance, I think is, I mean, I was never, like in skiing, like I was never very talented. Like I was okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, at whether it was state high school championships, like I was never a standout, you know? And I kind of wish I was, but you know, I had to just like grit my teeth and just be like, I'm going to outwork everybody for 10 years.
Yeah. Underdog mentality,
you know?
right? Yeah.
And I mean, I just knew myself, like I wasn't talented enough to get away without doing that.
Yeah.
Like that's what I had to do. And I'm finding now, I mean, running marketing agency like you do, those lessons that I learned through skiing, that grit, that perseverance, and like, I kind of think just being able to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being okay suffering.
Uncomfortable.
Being okay being uncomfortable, I think is coming in very handy, you know, running a business and launching Antidote now, you know, I mean, it's just like, we are just starting. Like that would be like if I just joined the team, and now like I have like that 10-year runway ahead of me of like just incredibly difficult work, you know? And I mean, you know, every day there's something happens that causes you to question whether you should quit or not, you know? And it's like, well, I think I'm too far in now. I'm going to persevere, but definitely doubt it sometimes. So
for sure. So fast forward, to get back to Olympics. You got 4 years ahead of you of grind. Like, so you're grinding, and when did you know you were like, when you're in, like, how did that feel, and then what happened at the experience itself?
Yeah, I basically decided to go all in on essentially Olympic trials. So there's a couple different ways you can qualify for the Olympic team for the U.S. for skiing, and you know, some things are political and whatever. But I basically figured out what I thought I had my best chance at. I was a sprinter, so the short, fast, power events, and I basically just said, okay, like I'm going to go all in on essentially U.S. nationals, or essentially Olympic trials, and I'm going to show up, and that means I have 2 races over like a 5-day window, and that will define my entire career. So I'm going to pick those 2 days, and I'm just going to pinpoint those on the calendar, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to win both those races against all of the competition in the US that is also trying to win those races.
What are those races called?
That was just we had a classic sprint and a skate sprint, and they happened to be here at Kincaid Park. So that's like my home.
This
course.
Is the trial.
This is Olympic trials. Is here. So you know, I've skied these trails a million times, and of course the course is a little different, and like they tweak it for that event.
Sure.
But
so you're on your home turf. Home turf.
A little bit home turf, and you've got, you know, a little bit of a home crowd, and I put my mind to it, and I practiced that race course like alone in the summer, like running, doing these bounding workouts, like these really hard cardio workouts, like on that course, like, you know, out in the rain, in the morning, whatever, at night, even outside of the team training there, because I was like, this is my shot. Like, this is all I've got to go on. So
you were doing extra. You were doing outside of team stuff. You were going out there.
Yeah, because I just like.
That's how bad you wanted it.
How bad it, yeah. And you can't. I just like knew that for myself, I needed to leave like no stone unturned. And
was it a bit of an obsession for you?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, you know, it kind of has to be. I mean, it takes a toll on your relationships and your life, and you have no family life, and you can't go on vacation, and you can't go to family reunions, and your girlfriend misses you all the time because you're gone, and you're making no money, and it's like all just, it's like, why am I doing this, you know? So yeah, I was very laser focused. I mean, I think I was in a healthy space where it wasn't like an idol for me. I had gotten out of that, so I knew that that wasn't everything that my life, like my whole life didn't depend on this. Yeah. But I just knew that like in that area, like in that professional skiing world, like I was putting all my eggs in that basket, and I put my whole self. When people say like give 100%. Yeah. That's like, I mean, think about that. Like, honestly, like, have you ever given 100%? Like, what does it look like to give 100%? And there's not many things that I've actually given 100%. Yeah. I mean, 90%'s a lot. Yeah. Giving 100% means that, like, there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, 100% of what you're doing is towards this goal.
And so I decided I need to put 100% towards this, and then I'll feel good.
Yeah.
Because then I can know that
even if you lose,
whatever the outcome is, and that's hard for me because I'm a very results outcome driven individual. So I typically don't get excited about by like, well, I'll just try hard, or like, yeah, good job for participating.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to see results.
Yeah.
You either did it or you didn't.
Yeah.
But you can, there's a myriad of things that can go wrong, and you can derail. And so, yeah, all you can do is control your preparation. And
there you go.
Anyway, so I ended up going to those races. I ended up winning both of those sprints. It was the only way that I would possibly qualify for the Olympics, was essentially winning both sprints against all my competition. And it was very tight, and I had 2 incredible races. And I got to go, my brother and I went 1-2 in those sprints, and so
you got to go
as well.
You?
So
cool.
we got to go together, which was really cool.
What a cool experience to do together.
And that was a weird, kind of a weird, very complex situation, because your brothers, you've trained a lot of your life together, but you also are competing head to head
against each other
for what we thought at that point was 1 Olympic spot.
Oh, and so you had to take them out.
You had to take them out. Yeah, you're competing against your bro.
And then
he's competing against you. And it's like, good luck.
Yeah.
And I hope you finish second.
Yeah.
Like that's like the mentality you have to have. And in the end, we both got to go, which was really, really cool.
Sweet.
So it was very rewarding. Yeah. Anyway, so went to the Olympics. That was amazing.
Did your parents get to come see you guys?
Yeah, they did.
The whole thing?
Yeah. And my wife, Jessica, and I were married at that point, so she got to come and hang out. And it was cool. I mean, it was just, the Olympics is a different beast. On a media and like production, and the fanfare is like totally insane.
Yeah, it's its whole own economy almost, right? It's like its own world.
And it's like the hockey players. Like I was hanging out with the U.S. hockey player team, guys, and all those hockey players, like they all know each other, right? And they're competing, whatever, in the NHL or these various pro leagues. So the competition is like no different.
Yeah.
The skiers, just whatever. Everybody, it's the same competition, but just everything around the competition is super elevated.
Yeah.
So instead of being like in some rural ski racing town racing against the best in the world, now you're in the city with a bullet train and like all the helicopters and all that stuff. Yeah, it's like okay, this is legit. So
cool. And how'd you do at the Olympics?
I got sick right before the Olympics on way over to Europe. The airlines lost all my gear, including like my 30 pairs of skis and all my clothes and everything. So I was in Europe for a couple weeks with nothing. I ended up getting sick for like the World Cup races right ahead of the Olympics.
Oh shit.
So I did not, I did okay, but I didn't perform quite well enough to get a spot in the sprint, which is the event that I qualified for. So I ended up racing in the relay, racing a 10K in the relay, which is like too long for somebody who's been training for 4 years for sprinting. So I did okay. I mean, for me, I did fine, but it was, we were not like, the men's distance skiing at that point, we were not very strong. And so we just kind of, we did all right. Yeah, to be honest. But
you experienced it.
Oh,
you had
man.
a great time. You got to
and representing the United States.
Yeah, represent your country.
Insane. And I always joke that like I felt when I was racing like up those huge hills, like I felt like I was literally had like the USA on my back. Like I was like I felt so like
That's awesome.
so much. I mean, there was an incredible amount of pressure. Yeah, you go out there and you're wearing your suit and it says USA.
Yeah.
And everybody from the USA, like all the media, all the reporters, everybody, like when you're on the track and in a relay, there is no one else. You are the only representative from the United States out there.
Oh, okay. So
like an individual event, there would be a few other USA athletes.
Yeah.
But in a relay, it's like just you.
you.
So you're like, I am the USA right now. Like, so that felt really cool.
Funny.
I remember that, and I mean, I've never gone that hard. Like, I dug so. I mean, I was like medically, they were like worried about me at the end. Like I pushed myself so hard. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was it was cool. I mean, I laid it all out there.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. No, not many people get to experience that. Obviously, like that's really special, and that's
cool.
Really cool. Jessica, Miss Alaska, your wife, and she competed at Miss Universe as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, Miss Alaska.
I thought she looked familiar. I saw her at the Fit Fest. I'm like, that's really familiar.
Oh, that's
because she was probably like on everything when she was Miss Alaska.
Then,
yeah.
That's how we kind of stayed in touch. I mean, I knew that she was competing. And she actually grew up in Salcha, outside of Fairbanks.
Oh,
on a
really?
homestead in the middle of the woods.
Really?
And
military or
no, her parents just like her dad moved up here to live the Alaskan dream.
Yeah.
And they homesteaded. And
Yeah.
So you can imagine like when the girl that like grew up trapping and hunting and fishing and
what a
living in a log
badass.
cabin goes to Miss USA.
How did that even?
Against
How do
the
you
pageant
even get
people,
to the
right?
pageant world from like a homestead?
Yeah.
And doing all those things you said, like being an Alaskan in the most, like arguably like a really harsh environment, like outside of Fairbanks. Which if anybody's ever been to Fairbanks, you know, like in the winter, it's a joke. Like nobody should live there.
Yeah.
But people do.
People do.
And survive and do well. But going from that to like pageant life.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it's a pretty,
How did that happen? I need
cool
to have
story.
her on. I think
you
I
should have her on.
I think I need to have her
way
on.
better.
Yeah.
When she tells it, I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah, she moved here to go to UAA actually, so she was going to school in Anchorage, and she saw a poster that was saying, "Hey, scholarships for this beauty pageant," and I think it was for Rondi back then.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And so she entered, she won her first pageant, she got the scholarship because she was paying her way through college herself, and so she just needed the money, and she won. And then she thought, hey, maybe I could win some more. So I think Miss Alaska was really only, if I remember, was like her third pageant ever.
And these girls like they grow up doing this?
Some people, I mean, in Alaska,
in the South,
it's not
in
quite
the South,
so
it's like a
crazy.
big thing.
Yeah. But a lot of people are very dedicated towards it.
And spend thousands of dollars and do all the things. One of my daughters wanted to be in pageanting, and I have no clue. I'm not the guy. I think your mom has to be into it. And my wife definitely wasn't one of those moms. So that's funny that she just like saw a poster, became Miss Alaska. Now in like her fourth pageant's like being in Miss Universe.
When they were at Miss USA, she's there and they're like announcing. They do facts about the people.
Oh yeah.
It was like Miss Alaska, hailing from Salcha, Alaska, she learned how to trap squirrels at 2 years old, hunting, all the lower 48 people are like, what? Like, what? Who's this? Like, nut job, and she's like, well, that's just what we do. Like, we were just living in Alaska, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now you guys got 2 kids. Just had your son, what,
he just turned 1.
Actually. Yeah, I was going to say, like a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like it, so.
Feels like a decade?
1, 3, and we're just living life and trying to, get out and do Alaska stuff and run businesses and try to keep all the balls in the air, you know? So.
How do you compare like parenting to like professional ski career, your business? Like, how does that play in? And is it like, do you find that it's like harder, or like, is it, what's your view on parenting right now? It's hard because your kids are super young, so it's super hard. But
when I got married, Jessica and I are both like very competitive, very kind of type A, very strong personalities. So you put those together.
Yeah.
And like when we got married, I was like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like this will be a miracle if we get through this.
Just being married.
Just being married.
If
I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It was very challenging, and it is challenging. It's very challenging. I think doing it well is very challenging.
Yeah, people take it for granted, because I think that's the reason that so many divorces happen, is because people stop giving that effort to want to be in a relationship, to like really work on a relationship like you did when you were first getting together. It's like, we do all these things together and it's fun, it's exciting, and then people forget like you can't stop doing that. You actually have to do more of that, right? Yeah. And that's great you recognize that, because being married is hard. Yeah. 20th anniversary for me. Me and my wife are married 20 years in August this year. Yeah, and it's funny because my oldest daughter's getting married next, like a year from Saturday.
Okay.
So the solstice 2025, and they're going to spend all this money, $30,000 or whatever, which is a lot, which I know isn't a lot in the fucking wedding world.
Right. But
people are spending hundreds
like
of thousands.
Yeah.
And then just to literally like 50 to 60% of people are getting divorced. And what percentage of those people are that are still married are in unhappy marriages too? Right. That's a whole statistic that we could talk about. But like, let's throw a big party at like 20 years or like 30
Right.
years.
I mean, that would be the right incentive
That would be the
structure
right.
to do.
Let's take that money and like put it into an investment account
Totally.
or something. But I just think it's I get it. Like it's a big deal. Like getting married is, but the bigger deal is actually like sticking together and making it work for a long enough time to. Say like, oh, we've been together for decades, that's difficult. So that's cool that you've had that experience and you're like aware of it.
I'm always amazed, when people like, and it's analogous to parenting too, because people will say things like, oh, I love this person so much. Like, it's just like amazing. Like they make my life better all the time, and I'm like, wait, when does that happen? Like,
yeah.
I mean, all the time. Like,
yeah,
my wife is incredible, and like she adds so much to my life, and I think vice versa. But you're two different people.
Yeah,
and you're two different people with hopefully your own thoughts, your own dreams, your own goals, your own communication styles,
your own activities,
and like
hobbies.
You put those together, and like now you're now you're one. Like, how can you not have conflict? Yeah. So for us, it's been really awesome to learn how to grow through that, how to communicate really well. And then I think, so what I was going with that is, so I thought that was hard.
That was the first hard.
That's the first step, right?
Yeah.
And that's like the training, and then it's like, okay, now you're ready for kids. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Mixing a kid in there. Now we got our own parenting styles and philosophies and who does what, changing diapers.
I mean, they're just like, so my kids are 1 and 3 right now, and they're just, they challenge you. They challenge me so much. Like, and whether they mean to or not, I think it's designed that way so that they're pushing, they're learning what to do, what they cannot do, what authority means, and what discipline looks like, and it's very challenging.
It's an amazing challenge.
It's fun. I mean, it's very rewarding. I think those rewarding moments are built in there to keep us persevering. It's like, oh, this is so great. Oh, we should have another one, and it's like 5 minutes later, it's like, absolutely not.
Yeah, dude, and you're just getting started. So I have older daughters, and they're 2 in their 20s and one that's 17. And our middle daughter was a nightmare. Like in her from age.
If you're watching this,
yeah, she does. I talk about her more than any of my other daughters, just because like a lot. Like I have a few clients or guests that have been on that have daughters, and they're like telling me like how like they're just turning like 13 or 14, like asking me advice, and I'm like, well, the best advice I could give them is like just love them unconditionally, because getting into that back and forth sort of like arguing with a teenage girl is you're going to lose every time in some way. There's no winning, and I think in arguments people try to win a lot, but a lot of times you just need to just be quiet and listen, I think, and try and empathize. Like, these kids are going through, a lot of changes, and they're, physiologically, hormonally, socially, they're going from 7th grade from 8th grade to 9th grade, or 6th grade to 7th grade. And especially girls, man, they're pretty, they're just not super nice, it's a nice way to put it, like, they're there's a lot of cliques, and they just feel so self-conscious and anxiety, and it makes them do all these things that they probably would never do if they weren't going through these things. So I think it is, it's challenging in a good way, and for parents seeing their kids go through those things, it's like you got to go through it with them. Don't be like making their life harder. That's hard to say too when your kid's doing really bad things like breaking the law or drugs or skipping school. Those things can be hard because you don't want them to do that. But there's at some point you got to realize like they're their own people. Even at age 13, 14, 15, 16 especially, you start to just kind of like, God, I gotta like I can't like make them do everything I want them to do like when they're 3 years old. So that challenge doesn't go away, but this is that's a tough stage. 1 and 3 is tough. They're just like 3, like they're just starting to kind of have that personality come in, especially for the girls. They start to really show their personality. They're really fun and loving and so much good energy, you know. And then probably the boys just
shitting
his pants,
knocking into stuff and like bruising up his head. It's like
throwing food on the floor.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited, and I mean, well, I'm sure I will learn a lot. So
Yeah, you're gonna have fun. I'll give you advice along the way if you need, but that's my best advice. We got to talk about Antidote.
Yeah.
This is something that you brought to. You kind of came out with at Fit Fest that we had a couple months ago at the end of May or middle of May. An event we did together. And I tasted it there. I freaking loved it. You had told me about it before, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Like when you taste it and like feel the effects of it. And I mean, I don't know, like that day I was working, you were working, we were kind of next to each other in the booth, and I took the shot, and then I was like, it tasted good. And you told me it was like beet extract was like one of the main ingredients, which I had been introduced to over in Sweden when I did a race over there several years ago. And I felt awesome. Like that day, like I look back at it, and I was like, man, I was like ready to go like another round of like 6 or 8 hours.
Nice.
So, I mean, I've worked out with it now since I don't do a ton of like heavy weightlifting, so I don't need to get my pump on necessarily. But like before I go to yoga or before I go on a hike or something, and I'm just got off work, I've been taking it. So I've seen the results, but I want you to talk a little bit of like, why did you see like the need to bring this to the market? Like what is different from all these other fucking pre-workout drinks that you see on the market here? And what's different about Antidote and what makes it so like awesome?
That's a great question. So I am also very like cynical. So I kind of started down this path a little bit of like, I wonder if I should make a pre-workout because I hadn't found one that I liked and that I would take every day for the next
like you didn't like
years.
The flavor, you didn't like the ingredients.
The ingredients
or what?
mostly.
Okay. What do they have in it?
Then I thought, who possibly needs another one of these?
Yeah.
There's like a bazillion on the market. You're gonna be different than all those other ones.
Yeah.
But there is room. There's nobody doing what we're doing. Basically, after my professional athletic career, now I'm in professional mode, dad mode. Trying to stay fit. I like to work out. I try to work out every day. And I'm kind of a hybrid athlete, so I do endurance, I do lifting, I do high intensity.
Do some group workout stuff.
Group workout
stuff.
At
Elite.
Yeah. So I started looking into pre-workouts and what is everybody taking? What are the popular ones on the market? I started sampling them, looking at them. But if you go and you ask a bunch of people that are taking pre-workout what they take, and you look at what they're taking, like look at that ingredient list, and it took me like no time at all. I looked at a few and I was like, dude, I don't eat any of this. I would not put this in my body. I mean, the stuff that's in there, artificial flavors, artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, they're all full of crazy fillers to keep them from caking or to make it dissolve better. They've got, a lot of them have nootropics, which are like kind of like mind altering things, which like give you this,
like
some
fake high.
Fake boost, sort of high mind boost. And
just garbage
just stuff
shit.
that it's like, dude, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want to put that in my body. I mean, sure, you could take it once, it'll give you a crazy performance for a few hours, but like it's not good for you. And I work out every day.
I used to take this stuff called Rip Fuel in high school, and it was my heart rate got like ridiculously high, and I had to go to the nurse's office. I remember it was like having a panic attack in high school because I took this Rip Fuel shit, and I know it was like a bunch of just crazy stuff in it.
Yeah. So I mean, I wanted something that I could take like essentially every day, every time I work out. For how long do I want to work out for? I mean, 10, 20, 30, like I'd like to work out for 40 more years.
Yeah.
50 more years.
And not have any
side effects.
Yeah.
So my co-founder, Ryan, he was a D1 like thrower, discus and hammer and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
cool.
So his story, like in college, he had one of his teammates had kidney failure. And the doctor said it was probably due to the pre-workout he was taking.
Holy shit.
So, it's like there is a lot of gnarly stuff out there. The pre-workout world is like totally the Wild West. And I just felt like, gosh, there's got to be some option out here that is healthy but still effective.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I come from the marketing world, so sports and marketing is what I'm passionate about. And so I started looking for some of these alternatives, and there are some natural pre-workouts out there. But they're like really hippy dippy.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
they're like
They're like a natural
they're
pantry and shit like that.
Supernatural pantry. I mean, like
they're not-
supernatural pantry.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and they taste disgusting, and it's like they have broccoli on the front. You know, it's like, dude, no one's
gonna
wants a pre-workout with broccoli on the front. You know.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, there's got to be a way to make a really cool, natural, clean, safe, effective pre-workout that's also cool. And that also, because most people that are, I mean, let's be honest, like most of the pre-workout market is middle-aged men working out in the gym. And those guys are not going to touch something that is called, you know,
grandma's
fuel.
yeah.
You know, bananas and fruits and vegetables on the front.
Well,
you know?
one thing you said to me that resonated too, I don't want to interrupt you, but but the younger athletes taking pre-workout, I know there's a lot of kids like, 14, 15, 16-year-olds trying to be stronger, faster, better, taking C4 is one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
I don't know what the others are, but that one's like bright blue. You know, it's got some bullshit in it that's not good for them, and it's not sustainable, like you said. So for the kid taking pre-workout from age, let's say 15, 16, up to our age or older or into their 60s, working out, they might see some problems if they keep taking this stuff. So I thought that was a great point for parents out there, like, they want their kids to work out and their kids are wanting to take pre-workouts. Like, look at what's in those things and think about like what kind of ingredients your kids put in their body as an athlete.
Definitely. I would say that actually really freaks me out because all the kids, I don't want to say all the kids, most of the kids, a lot of teenage boys, a lot of teenage girls, anybody who's an athlete, pre-workout is like a thing now. And people are taking this when they go to the gym and they're working out and they're seeing their sports idols take it, they're seeing all the professionals take it and getting these boosts in the gym. Well, they're taking this stuff. These are like these young, like adolescent and developing teenager bodies.
Yeah.
And this stuff is full of some gnarly stuff. I mean, there's like ingredients that the FDA is going to ban, which like,
it's probably already banned in Europe.
If the FDA is banning it, it's like
it's got to be
really
real bad.
So that if I was a parent, man, I do not want my kids to take. I mean, no one should be taking that. So that's what I love about Antidote is that it's like you could feel so good. I mean, it's literally just food, like natural ingredients. I mean, the hero ingredients are beetroot and tart cherry, and those two, I took those when I was training for the Olympics. I took those basically consistently for 8 years straight, and I bought them and I paid a premium for a good,
like pure
certified Informed Sport certified version.
Is that the name when you're looking at these products?
Yeah,
like it's got to be Informed Sport.
So our product has this Informed Sport badge. So we actually, this is third-party tested. We invested in what it would take to get our stuff tested, and that says that there's nothing in here that's not on this label. So there's no there's no contamination from like other supplements or any sort of sketchy ingredients or anything like that. So if you're a professional athlete, you can take this, you can get drug tested, and you're not going to have anything sketchy in you.
Yeah. Can we make some up real quick while you were talking?
Yeah.
I want to try it.
So this
is a different flavor, I think, than I tried at the event. Or?
It's probably the same.
Is it?
Yeah. So we have a wild blueberry. That's our flavor.
Okay.
It's a natural product, and I always tell people this because if you come from like the crazy GNC kind of fake supplement world, and you're expecting like a really candy flavor, it doesn't taste like candy. I think it tastes really good.
I don't think.
Yeah,
but I don't remember actually. I'm going to taste it here and let you know. I'm going to let everybody know how it tastes.
Yeah. So. So we have a 30 serving canister, just one scoop like that. It's just a dry powder. Mix it in your water, and there's no coloring in it. It's what you see is what is in there. So all this color is from the beetroot extract and the tart cherry. So those are all both very red, obviously. And then there's a full probiotic blend in there.
That's good for your tummy.
There's a complete electrolyte blend. So when you're working out and you're sweating and you're losing all your electrolytes, a lot of drinks will just put sodium. We have a full blend because you sweat more than just sodium.
Yeah.
So there's that. A little bit of caffeine. It's got caffeine like a 12-ounce cup of coffee. So for people who
It tastes a little bit like beets, but
You can taste the beet for sure. Yeah. But it's and it's sweetened with natural coconut sugar.
I like it.
So like if you take a supplement and you look at it, a lot of them now will say 0 sugar, but then it's flavored like, blue razzmatazz.
Yeah. And
where's that sweetness
where's
coming from?
that sweetness coming from?
That
sugar.
should cause a question.
Yeah.
Zero sugar, 0 calories. So ours has a little bit of sugar, 1 gram of coconut sugar. So it's a natural, a little bit slower dissolving sugar. So it's totally keto friendly. It doesn't give you a blood sugar spike, but it gives you, when you work out, you actually want a little bit of carbohydrate to burn. Otherwise, you're just like burning. Your body starts to metabolize your muscles.
What's giving you like that pump feeling, like that energy? What in it?
Yeah, so the beetroot is a natural vasodilator. So that's why you get that feeling. It basically helps your blood
opens up
your blood vessels and helps get that blood into all your muscles a little bit better.
Cool.
So it's got a little bit of creatine, a little bit of beta alanine, which is an acid lactic acid buffer. That's what gives you that. Like a lot of them have a lot of like a high dose of beta alanine will give you that skin tingly feeling. Which some people like that, some people don't like it. I personally do not like that feeling, and I'm very sensitive to it. So this has just a low medium dose of beta alanine, but it's very effective when you're working out. And that's pretty much it. We've got all of our, it's manufactured in the USA, natural ingredients. It's vegan, it's keto friendly. It's manufactured in an FDA approved facility. And,
how long is energy? Like if I drink this whole thing, how long will I be pumped up for?
I think that this whole interview, at least. Yeah.
I'm gonna get my pump on after this.
Yeah, I mean, some people are very sensitive to caffeine. Some people are not.
Oh, yeah, I drink coffee every morning.
Yeah, so it's probably not gonna
the coffee's not gonna pump.
It's not gonna totally jack you up. Yeah, and if people who never drink caffeine, I would take a half scoop probably, and you'll feel something. But it's a very low. It's a medium low dose of caffeine compared to most pre-workouts. I mean, these days, like we kind of joke, I feel like there's like a race to kill someone, because if you go and look at these pre-workouts now, there's like
it's too much.
300, 350, 400, like 450 milligrams of caffeine per serving.
Way too much caffeine.
Which is just absolutely insane. Yeah. And that was part of the inspiration for when I was at the very start of this journey. I was just in the gym and I would just ask people, like guys who were lifting, girls who were lifting, and ask them, hey, what do you take? Yeah. What do you like? And it was crazy how many people would say, oh, I take this, and they would be kind of like sheepish embarrassed about it. And I'd be like, and they'd tell me what it was. And it's one of these like pretty common ones, Bucked Up or Ghost or things like that.
Yeah. And
they're like, yeah, I'm super addicted. Like this is way too much caffeine. And one guy told me, yeah, I know this is killing me, but I'm addicted to it. I'm like, bro, well, how long can that go on for? I mean, this guy was like 20 years old,
Yeah, you can't, it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
So the marketing for a lot of those ones too, a lot of those like mainstay pre-workouts is very much like chrome bottle, like monster, like
bulging veins,
ripped. And I think that people know, like consumers aren't as dumb, I think, as these manufacturers think. It's just like people get a hold of something, they get used to taking it, and they just take it. But I think you're onto something with like the branding and design and the look and feel of it. Can be a little softer than that, but not so granola that people are like, I can't show up at the gym with that.
Right.
I think that's a good mix. I think what you have is great. I think, and people need to try this. And if somebody does want to like buy it, like where would you find Antidote right now? I know it's super new, so it's not like everywhere. But if somebody wants to buy it, where can people buy it?
Yeah, antidotelife.com. We're selling it online. That's really the easiest way. We're in the process right now of setting up with some flagship retail locations. I'd love to have a few here in Alaska, and we can even do a special discount for the Orange Slice.
Oh, for the
podcast.
Okay, yeah.
So
that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just do.
What are we gonna call it?
We can do. Let's do Orange Slice 20.
Okay.
Use code OrangeSlice20
for 20% off.
20% off. Yeah, right now. So if you're a listener of the podcast,
and it's $60 for
$59. Yep, for 30 servings. So that comes in right? I mean, it's a premium product.
Yeah. Is that
So
around
it's
the
very
same price? I know the other stuff is expensive though too.
Ours is pretty expensive to manufacture with all the natural ingredients and stuff like that. Our price is about $1. I think it's $1.96 per serving, which is just right kind of on average. So like the really low end stuff, like the cheap C4 and that kind of stuff is like a little bit cheaper, like around $1.
Yeah.
And then you can find a lot of really like expensive stuff at $3 or $3.50 a serving.
Per serving.
And so we wanted to make it's definitely for people who are like kind of thinking long term and kind of a little bit more of a premium buyer, you know, somebody who's willing to invest in their long term health. But we wanted it to be manageable and approachable, especially for like athletes, teenagers, college athletes, stuff like that, because it's like, you know, we don't want to be so expensive that, you know, people can't use it. So
absolutely,
yeah. So it's kind of right in the sweet spot there, right in the middle. So.
And what did you like? How did manufacturing work? Like, how did you learn to like that's the thing is like, yeah, I got this great. Everybody has a great idea about something that they should come up with, right? But nobody takes that next step to find the way to manufacture it and how to get those ingredients and how to get them certified and like. I mean, how long have you been doing this for first, and how long did it take, and what was the process like?
That's what I was gonna say. That's why it took a year to get to this point.
Yeah.
So.
And that's not that long for a new product to get to the shelf, right? I mean, when you think about like.
No. Yeah.
Unless you're an established like manufacturer, right? That's doing things that can just like pop a new product out anytime.
Yeah. From literally zero to here.
That seems good.
Ready to sell.
Not to mention the product, but you got to like the branding as well. So people miss like that's a whole missed thing by a lot of products. But yeah, you got your website, you got your social media pages. You guys got all kinds of. I mean, at that event, you guys had an event set up of cool things people can do at an event. So. That's a ton of stuff to get done in 1 year. I'm impressed, man. That's really, you should be super proud.
Yeah, well, it's a crazy amount of work, and I think that's like just some of the lessons from ski racing and coming back, and you know, just the grit and just like wanting it. I mean, so many times you just doubt like whether this even makes sense or not.
Yeah.
Is this even gonna, you know, is it even gonna work? Are we gonna get there? But yeah, we found a good manufacturing partner. Somebody who they specialize in producing premium supplements. Somebody that would be able to meet the certifications that we wanted. Produce it at this informed sport level. So that's like a very, very pure high level of production. And then, you know, being a small business and starting out with my own money on the line, you know, putting my own money down for the down payment for the order, we needed a small minimum order quantity. So a lot of these big places, you know, it's these monster MOQs, right?
Container
it's like 100,000 units. It's like, okay, well, I can't afford that, you know.
Yeah.
So these guys, they've been great. And we pushed them hard. We worked with them because this blend is completely custom.
Okay.
So we hired a couple really renowned sports nutritionists to help us develop the blend, work on the science of the ratios and the ingredients and all that stuff. So that's why it's so good. It works so well.
Yeah.
Because we, you know, I mean, I have experience as an athlete, but I'm not a nutritionist, right? So we hired people who really know the science of each of these ingredients.
Yeah. You were telling me about that. Yeah, that's super important.
So that took a while back and forth. You know, you get different rounds of sampling done and, you know, try that. Okay, tweak it a little bit, try it, tweak it again, you know, tweak it how many times.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so this is, you know, a completely custom blend, and it's, now we're in production, and we've got units are shipping. And yeah, so now the goal is to, you know, we're selling online, so you can buy there. That's the easiest way, but we do want to have some cool in-store brick and mortar placements, you know, around the country. So we're working on that, building out what does a retail, you know, wholesale type relationship work and a program, and who's going to manage all that and all the shipping and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
That's sort of your next goal or next steps with the brand is sort of get it to retail. Is that really the?
Yeah, I mean, you probably, you know. We all heard like, you know, e-commerce, right? E-commerce was the wave,
D2C,
you know, 10 years ago.
D2C.
Yeah, D2C, right? So direct to consumer. And that's how we all like to buy now. You know, I mean, I can buy anything online, and, you know, it's nice because it saves us all time, and we don't have to travel somewhere. And,
sure.
But that also means that everybody's selling online, right? And we're all used to being sold to.
Totally.
Like, how many ads do you get served for whatever, you know, cool ski stuff or bike stuff or supplements or whatever. So there's definitely a little bit of a pullback from that within marketing, and people are seeing that brands are looking more towards an omni-channel approach, which means, direct to consumer, also brick and mortar, maybe some events, So it just means that, unfortunately, there's a lot more work on the plate that has to happen.
And people need to see it other places too, right? It's those touch points. It's like, oh, I got an ad, I saw it, maybe my friend had it, then I saw it at GNC, or I saw it at Skinny Raven.
Totally.
Better yet,
Yeah.
I saw it at a legitimate place that I know only has the best products, and they do their due diligence, and I'm not just like hoping it's going to be good because I saw Reese on a podcast and I'm going to buy the product. But it's good to have it like lots of other places for consumers to build that trust with them, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what you're really trying to do next with this product, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I think I love it because it's something that I really believe in. It's something that I set out on this journey.
Yeah.
Because I wanted this for myself.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to
I know.
buy. I couldn't find it.
You inspired me. Like when I talked to you about it, like you're obviously not just making this product to make a buck.
Right.
Like that's not the reason you're making this. It was a conversation
this
about.
This is not an efficient way to make a buck.
Yeah.
I tell you that.
Yeah. And you were talking about, well, first of all, you were talking about how you didn't have anything when you were an athlete, a professional athlete. And then you were talking about having these guys you hired that were like experts in this field of sort of like nutrition. And then what really struck me was the point you made about kids, like, because I obviously have kids. I coach hockey, and I see these kids working out hard, and I don't know what they're taking. I see them with bottles and shaking shit up, and I never really even like asked. Or,
right. Well, you probably never thought about it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, they're like taking some, like Gatorade's one thing, right? I know what's in that. It's pretty simple, right? It's just sugar and salt, really,
And artificial color.
Yeah. But then you start dumping, like, you got a lot of ingredients on the back of these pre-workout labels, and it's making stuff in their body go up and down and opening things up, and it's like, what is it doing? And for that growing body, it's really important. So I think, what you're doing is super admirable, and I think the market needs this. And I personally haven't seen anything else out there like it, but you would know better than me, and that's why you brought it to market, because there isn't anything else out there. Yeah, there isn't anything out there.
Yeah.
So I think it's so cool, and I'm super happy for you, and it's just another like feather in your cap for like something you've accomplished and you're going to continue to do well with, I think.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I appreciate the support, and it's been awesome to have the support, like just even, starting small, local, like Alaskans and, people in Anchorage, buying it and using it and loving it. And it's fun to get texts from my friends, at the fire station, or, at this gym over here or that gym over here, or this professional athlete who's training, up on Hillside or whatever, like, oh, I used Antidote, and friends who, PRing on Bird Ridge on Antidote,
last
I love
weekend.
it. And it's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, so now the trick is just growing that, because I think there's a lot of people that would benefit from this. And it's just, getting the word out and, doing the work to get the word out.
It's a grind. So, it's slow. Yeah. And, you're going to be, super successful with it. What's next for you in terms of like your sports career? You coaching or anything?
Dude, now I'm just dad life.
Yeah, just dad life, huh?
Coaching. I will. It's been nice to have a little break from like my career. I coach here and there, but I wanted to have some separation.
Yeah.
Just because it was like my whole life for so long. That was it. Like training and skiing, and just like that was all I did. And so I'm sure that whatever sports, if my kids would like to play sports, I'm going to encourage them to play sports. I think it's a great way to learn some tough lessons of life, and I think it's a low consequence way to learn lessons. And I hope that they want to play. And we're very active. We go outside, take them outside, and we do a lot of stuff. And if they, I might have to learn how to coach ballet or something like. Have some amped up little ballerinas.
Well, we did that Fit Fest event that was super fun with tons of people, and are we going to do that again, you think? Or
I don't know. I get people asking if we're doing it.
I know. Did you get a lot of people trying and sampling?
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of momentum from that event?
Yeah, it's just the reality is it's a local event, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people were excited to hear about it. Some people bought it. And
a lot of people are just there to support you too, just come in.
And it's cool, and it's, you're not going to build a business on doing local events and selling a few cans here and there.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reality. I love that part. I love talking to people. I love talking to people that I know and stuff. But yeah, that's the trick. My job is going to be figuring out how to like get that same energy and excitement and passion to all the people who I can't be there in person with. You
Totally.
know? So.
Are you guys creating content around this too? I'm assuming. I know you took some ice bugs up on the glacier.
Yeah, we did. We did a
few weeks
crazy
back.
Alaskans.
Yeah.
Will appreciate that. Yeah, we helicoptered a weight set and a full squat rack, a full weight set,
Yep,
and
I watched the video. Yeah.
some people out into the middle of the Knik Glacier and
had them drink some pre-workout.
yeah,
and we're like, all right,
drank a
take
lot
your
of
shirt off.
pre-workout and lifted some heavy weights. It was probably the most epic place that weights have ever been lifted. And it was cool, yeah. So that was kind of like we'll use that content in a lot of our campaigns and stuff like that. And it's just, everybody's saying the same thing, right? It's like photos in the gym or videos in the gym and someone's drinking something and then they're working out. It's like, okay, I mean, boring,
Pretty
how
generic,
many times have you seen that? So
yeah, I mean, I'd rather see a video you talking about and like your passion that you have around the product itself and how you designed it and developed it. That's I think what people need to hear.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, we all, when I buy things, emotionally because there's some excitement or personal connection.
There's some
or
other reason. You just
yeah.
don't buy it just to buy it.
Right, or some random thing I found. So, and we're excited and happy to hook up the Orange Slice podcast listeners.
Yeah,
so.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you dropped off some for me, but also anybody out there who's listening, Orange Slice 20 on the website. I don't know, maybe we run it till the end of the year or something, the end of 2024.
Yeah.
Can't be going forever.
No. But yeah, that'll be through the end of 2024. If you hear that code, Orange Slice 20, and find me on Instagram. I'm at Reese Hanneman. Welcome to send me a message, ask me any questions about it, or I'm happy to give you my thoughts, or and if you miss that code, I can send it to you there too. So I'm sure Seth can too. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, marketing-wise, everything's going good on Ophira side. I know we kind of started out talking about Ophira and then we got sidetracked, but that's still your main gig.
That's my day job.
Yeah, your day job. Yeah.
It's good. We're a small boutique. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to people. I say that, and then it's like when you say that to the masses, it's like
cringe. No, I know what it means. Yeah.
We're a small kind of high-end marketing agency, so we work with a lot of Alaskan businesses from lower 48 and even around the globe that need marketing work here in Alaska. So we shoot content, do web, social, targeted ads, all that stuff, similar to you guys. And it's going well. I mean, it's just such a growing space. I mean, so many of our interactions now, for better or for worse, are online.
I know. Yeah.
And
well, then you got this AI thing. Like, how are you using that in your everyday? Are you utilizing that at all? And if you are, like, what are you doing with it?
Yeah, this whole podcast is AI. I'm not even here. Right? Watch out, that's coming. Actually.
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah, you have to. I think so. I'm very like I don't, to be honest, I don't really like AI, but I'm very AI forward. So I think that we have no choice.
Yeah.
And so, you might as well know how to use it, responsibly. For us, it's trying to work with our clients and talk about what does AI look like? Mm-hmm. How are we using AI? I mean, there's some really cool stuff you can do with it, but it's bringing a lot of power to the people. You can do a lot of things really quickly.
Yeah.
So I think that part's cool, but yeah, it's definitely scary. I mean, you think about where it's going to be in 10 years.
Oh, it's super scary. Yeah. I mean, you're not sure, but you can imagine like it could go off the rails.
It's like full Black Mirror,
Yeah.
Like,
it is. Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah. So I mean, we obviously, my company is very like tech forward. So I think, we want to be the best like you guys do. And you have to embrace technology. Sometimes I wish I could just we could rewind and go back 100 years and we're all living in a cabin using wood and heat, and
going to get water from the stream.
you and I would be marketers. We'd be going down to the post office and like
Posting something
pin a little
up so we
sign up
drew.
there. Yeah, exactly, and say like, new water buckets for sale.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
oh man, simpler times, but there's no cookies, there's no tracking on that. So how do you?
No analytics associated
Show me
with
my
that.
Google Analytics on the post office post, so.
Yeah. Well, you're a lifetime Alaskan. You've lived here your whole life. What's your go-to?
Can I mix some? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Make some of this up while we're talking.
Yeah. No, I'm sipping on it. I'm loving it. What's your favorite restaurant in town?
Ooh, man.
Yeah. Do you guys go out to eat? Probably not.
We do.
A fair bit. Yeah.
My wife and I love Thai food, so kind of our thing is like we kind of feel like we have like a really good knowledge of all of the Thai restaurants and which dishes are good at which Thai restaurant.
So give us the lowdown then.
So I would say like Lan Pad Thai, like their Penang. If you're a Penang curry person,
I love some Penang curry.
their Penang curry is insane. And then they also do really well their drunken noodle, and you ask for it burnt.
Really?
And then it's like extra seared, so it's like crispy.
What?
Yeah.
How did you learn this?
Oh, we just try different stuff.
But then you just let's just try ask for extra burnt.
Yeah.
Folina, what do you get? I know Folina's got to be on that list.
Yep, Folina. The pad thai there is pretty good. Yeah.
I like their yellow curry there.
Siam cuisine on West Diamond.
Yeah, know of that one.
Their cow pig sin, which I am not a soup guy. Like I never order soup. Is like a pho broth type thing, and it is insane.
What's it called?
Cow pig sin.
Huh.
And there's almost nowhere else that serves it, and it's really, really good.
Cool. I gotta try that. I've been there. I've been at Siam. I used to go there a lot.
Yeah. We go there with they're big. They have a big space, and so we take up a whole table, and our kids can make a racket, and you don't feel like you're imposing on people.
Totally.
We should do cheers.
Cheers.
Boom. Cheers.
Thanks, buddy.
Here we go. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a good interview.
Oh, it's already good. What's your go-to spot in Alaska to go visit? Like, where's your favorite spot to go visit where you're like, oh, we love going here?
That's a great question. I mean, Seward is hard to beat, like you said.
Yeah, on a nice day.
On a nice day.
Good luck getting there on a nice day. It's it's usually on a Wednesday.
So I actually think one of the most underrated places in Alaska is Valdez.
Yes,
it's
I would agree with
far
that.
away, and it's like, to me, it's a more extreme version of Seward. So like the mountains are even bigger, and the ocean, the fishing is really good, and the Prince William Sound around there, and there's way less people. It's just hard to get to. The drive is insane. You go up and over Thompson Pass, the glaciers and stuff.
Every time I do that drive, I'm like, why don't I do this drive more? Because it's amazing. I never go that far north. I always stop at Big Lake or at one of the lakes on the way there. But whenever I do that drive, and I've only been to Valdez one time, I had that same epiphany. It was like socked in, Seward, and then there was at one point the clouds raised, and you're like, oh my god, like the mountains and it's crazy, and the pass is like nuts. It's so beautiful there.
Jessica and I we did a road trip to Nebezna, which is north of Kennecott. So it's on its own highway, dirt highway all the way in, and it's north of the Wrangell St. Elias and Kennecott and all that, and there's nothing out there. I mean, it is rewind 100 years. So cool. I mean, just beautiful. And the mountains out there, like the rock is different. So it looks unlike any other mountains. It looks like you're in like Banff or like Canada, where it'll hold a cliff, like a big steep rock face. Yeah, super cool. Like, I think that's a really like underexplored part.
I've never
of
even
Alaska.
heard of that place. Yeah,
exactly.
It's like it's like a totally different.
Yeah, you're like,
planet.
what? Like, but you're whatever, 400 miles. I mean, it's a long ways out.
I went on a fishing to a fishing lodge 2 weekends ago, and it was on a river called the Kwijak. And I'd never been out that way.
West, right?
Dillingham. Yeah, Dillingham area. It's in that region. But Lake Iliamna
Yeah.
is out there, and it's like all these rivers like go off of Lake Iliamna, but it's the largest lake in Alaska. I learned it's 90 miles by 30 miles, and this fucking thing looked like a fucking ocean. It was crazy. I'm like, that's not the ocean. Well, I know it's not the ocean because we're in the middle of Alaska, basically, right? But
sure? Yeah.
It was crazy big, and that whole environment's so much different. It just looked like we were in a different place, you know, from Anchorage or from Girdwood. It was pretty amazing. I think you can find that all over Alaska. Like, no matter where you go, it's like it just feels a little different. But yeah, that's awesome. I never heard of that.
That's what I love about Alaska is like, I mean, I grew up here. I've explored quite a bit, you know, on the road, off the road, you know, flying, and you can. I mean, there is like a limitless amount of places you can go that you've never been. You know, wow, like this place is sick. You know, I mean, how many places? I mean, I've spent time on the slope, up on northwestern.
Well, you guys
coast.
As skiers, you train on the glaciers a lot, right? Like, that's crazy.
So there's just so many, and I like that feeling. You know, when you travel, you go to the lower 48, you travel the world,
discovering something new.
I always find this when I'm in the lower 48, like in the rest of the U.S. You know, you're in somewhere and you're like, this place is really nice. But it feels like there's nowhere to discover anything.
Yeah.
Like everything's been discovered. Everything's been, there's people everywhere. There's paths everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all cool, but I don't feel like I ever get to like explore.
Yeah.
When you come here, you're like, I get to explore. Or you go on a hike and go, I'm going to pop right up over that ridge and see what's over there.
Yeah.
What's over there? I don't know.
No. Yeah. That's cool. That's a good point.
I like that feeling.
The one place I got that feeling too is in McCarthy. I went to McCarthy. It's like probably more than a decade ago, and only been once, but I will never forget that trip. The Kennecott Mine is there, and it's like the little town. I actually did a marathon there, so it was like the only marathon. It was like the first year they did it, and there were only 9 people that signed up. And it was my wife's first marathon, and we ran out to the mine, which is like 4 miles from the town, 4 miles back, so 8 miles, and then we ran out to the Xena River. And back, which was the rest of the 16 miles for the full 23 point whatever miles for the marathon, and it was all on trail. Obviously, there's no concrete, and I'd done most like the marathon runs that I had done were like Mayors, and like just beating yourself up on like hard surfaces makes it so much sore, but. Yeah, just the feeling you get when you're running out in the open there. There's nobody around. There's no aid stations. No people cheering you on the way.
I hope I don't need help here. Like
it was pretty cool, and I'll never forget that trip. The feeling I got. But my wife took first in the women's division, just because she was like one of like 3 ladies, or 2 ladies that did it. I took second because I ran with her, but we got done. And we just sat in the glacier water in the river, and I never felt better.
OG ice bath. That was before they were cool.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. Yeah. I felt amazing, and just the whole being there and the whole thing was like so cool.
Yeah,
but
I love those parts of Alaska that are just like
Kennecott Mine's like that. Kennecott's just like
totally.
It just feels like holy shit. You go back in time almost like somebody just left this shit here, like all the mining equipment.
You think of all the lives, all the work, all the businesses that people had, you know, poured into that, and it's just like, it's really, Alaska is just, it would be hard for me to live somewhere else.
I know.
I mean, I love exploring other places and traveling, but like, as far as living, it's just always, I mean, I think it's home when you're somewhere else that's cool, and you think, man, I can't wait to go back to Alaska, you know? It's like, yeah.
That's how we feel when we leave. I think nobody gets it that doesn't live here.
Yeah. And I love there's layers to it, you know, so like just living here is extreme, right? But to you and me, it's like, this is not extreme. Like I live in Anchorage. Like this is so boring, you know? I mean, it's not boring, but it's just very mundane. Like,
well, you're from Fairbanks too, so I'll give you that. That's way more extreme.
Big city life, man.
Yeah. The city folk.
But then there's like layers. Like, you go to like the small towns, and that's like, whoa, this is pretty extreme. Like, how do you get your groceries, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to time it with the boat. Oh, wow, that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's not even it. Now let's go to like village life, where like
subsistence.
It's a plane, and you're like subsistence life, and like there's no medical help, and like, you know, it's like, whoa, like that's really extreme.
It's extreme,
you know?
And the weather's extreme, and the you know the animals trying to kill you, and everything's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
People just don't get it. Yeah, but that's fine. That's why we're Alaskans. Right. That's why people, when we tell them we're from Alaska, they're like, whoa, cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I've seen that show.
Yeah. You're like, what show? Well, cool, man. I think we've covered a lot. Anything else you want to end on? I think that's a good place to kind of stop.
I should ask you some questions.
Oh, stop it. I just get my hair cut, so
Yeah, dude, looking good.
I needed it. I freshened up, man. But yeah, I hope you have a great summer, man. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Best of luck with Antidote. I think it's gonna crush. I think it's just a matter of time before it catches on and people realize all the things you're saying are true, and this is a real product that's gonna be good for people to take for pre-workouts and good for the kids. And yeah, I'm super stoked for you on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool, man.
And if any of your listeners like have, I'll just say this: if you're interested in that world, supplements, working out, fitness, I'm all ears. I'd love any suggestions or introductions or connections or ideas that you have. We're an Alaskan company. We're here. We're local, so we're happy to make those connections. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. So hit me up.
Reese Hanneman, thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you. Appreciate it, Seth.
Yeah, you bet, man.
See ya.
Yeah.